The Unseen Currents, a reflective inquiry into 10 underreported stories of October 29, 2025. What is not named does not cease to exist, it merely escapes our capacity to respond. Hannah Arendt, rephrased for the digital age. On October 29, 2025, the global information ecosystem, algorithmically tuned, editorially curated, and politically pressurized, continued its quiet work of selective revelation. 10 stories, each substantiated by satellite imagery, internal audits, peer-reviewed drafts, and on-the-ground testimony, surfaced in the margins of public consciousness. They did not trend. They did not break the front page. Yet each carries implications that ripple across geopolitics, public health, civil liberty, and human survival. This essay does not seek to alarm. It seeks to provoke thought, to invite the reader into a disciplined examination of what is omitted, why, and what that omission costs. We proceed not as polemicists, but as intellectual archaeologists, excavating the strata beneath the surface noise. 1. Fasher, Sudan, the genocide that slipped the frame. The fall of Fasher on October 26, 2025, was not merely a military event. It was the culmination of an 18-month siege that transformed a city of 700,000 into a graveyard. Yale Humanitarian Research Lab's satellite analysis, released October 28, documents 14 clusters of mass graves, thermal anomalies consistent with 1,800 to 2,300 bodies, and the systematic targeting of non-Arab ethnic groups. Consider the asymmetry. While Gaza dominates 78% of Middle East conflict coverage, Reuters Institute, Q3 2025, Sudan, where 40,000 have died since 2023 and 12 million face famine, receives less than 3%. The UAE's role in arming the Rapid Support Forces via Chad, documented by the UN panel of experts, is not conspiracy, it is statecraft. Gold worth $115 billion has been extracted and laundered through Dubai. Question for reflection: when does humanitarian attention become a zero-sum game, and who benefits from the diversion? 2. China's infrastructure empire in Latin America, the quiet reordering of the hemisphere. By October 2025, China controls 37 deep water ports and 62% of the region's lithium production. The Changjai megaport in Peru, inaugurated in May, is not a trade hub. It is a strategic node with dual-use potential, its debt clauses granting Beijing automatic ownership in case of default. This is not economic competition. It is geopolitical repositioning. The Belt and Road Initiative has shifted from loans to asset forfeiture. The US response, tariff threats and unfunded counter-proposals, arrives late to a game already won. Pause and reflect. What does it mean for sovereignty when a nation's critical infrastructure is collateralized to a foreign power? 3. The statistical mirage of urban safety in the United States. Our Datalytics, cross-reference with the National Crime Victimization Survey, reports a 61% increase in violent crime in America's 50 largest cities since 2019. Yet official statistics, fed by 42% non-reporting agencies and widespread reclassification, tell a different story. In Chicago, an internal audit, leaked October 15, reveals 214,000 violent incidents removed from public dashboards. In Washington, D.C., a commander was suspended for pre-election data manipulation. The deeper issue: crime statistics are no longer neutral metrics. They are political instruments. When data is weaponized, trust in institutions erodes, not from conspiracy, but from documented deception. Ask yourself, if the numbers lie, what else might? 4. The Henry Ford Study, a forbidden comparison and its implications. An internal draft from Henry Ford Health System, comparing 18,000 children, found 57% chronic illness prevalence among fully vaccinated cohorts versus 17% among unvaccinated, with 0 cases of ADHD or diabetes in the latter group. The study was never submitted for publication. Its lead author was reassigned. The file was sealed. This is not proof of causation. It is evidence of suppression. The refusal to conduct or publish vaccinated, unvaccinated comparisons, despite decades of calls from researchers, raises a profound ethical question. Reflect, in an evidence-based society, what justifies the systematic avoidance of a control group? 5. Russia's Burevestnik test, the return of unlimited-range nuclear delivery. On October 23, 2025, a nuclear-powered cruise missile flew 14,000 kilometers over 15 hours, entering Norwegian airspace before returning to base. Confirmed by Norwegian intelligence, the test renders traditional missile defense architectures conceptually obsolete. This is not saber-rattling. It is strategic rebalancing. The Mutual Assured Destruction (MAD) framework assumed finite ranges and predictable trajectories. Unlimited loiter time changes the calculus of deterrence. Contemplate, how does the psychology of security shift when an adversary can strike from any direction, indefinitely? 6. The £104 billion wind dividend, a triumph buried by narrative. Imperial College London's Energy Futures Lab calculates that UK offshore wind generated £104 billion in net economic benefit from 2010 to 2023, £133 billion in gas price suppression outweighing £43 billion in subsidies. Yet the dominant media frame remains one of cost and failure. This is not accidental. It is ideological inertia, a refusal to update priors in the face of empirical success. Consider, what does it say about our discourse when financial triumph is framed as burden? 7. The disappearance of America's unaccompanied minors. Since 2021, 300,000 unaccompanied migrant children have been placed with sponsors and subsequently lost to follow-up, according to HHS whistleblower testimony. In Tennessee alone, 1,200 children vanished from state tracking in 2025. This is not administrative error. It is systemic vulnerability, a pipeline from border to exploitation, enabled by overwhelmed systems and political paralysis. Reflect deeply, when a society loses track of its most vulnerable, what does it reveal about its moral compass? 8. The arrest of Sergeant Mike Hensley, when satire becomes a felony. A retired Tennessee police officer was arrested on October 22, 2025, for posting a meme mocking conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The charge, cyber harassment of a public figure. The meme was juvenile. The response was disproportionate. The precedent is chilling. Ponder. At what point does the state's monopoly on force extend into the realm of humor, and what does that mean for dissent? 9. The end of low observability, a paradigm shift in aerial warfare. New phased array radar systems, deployed by both China, JY-27V, and NATO allies, can now detect F-35 stealth aircraft at 400+ kilometers, rendering low-altitude evasion obsolete. This is not incremental improvement. It is doctrinal rupture. Trillions invested in stealth may soon be neutralized by sensors costing millions. Ask, how quickly can military strategy adapt when its foundational assumptions collapse? 10. Northern Gaza, famine by design. In October 2025, zero aid trucks entered northern Gaza. The World Food Programme declared IPC Phase 5 famine, the first in the 21st century explicitly forecast and preventable. 17 of 19 bakeries are inoperable. This is not collateral damage. It is policy with measurable human cost. Final reflection, when starvation becomes a tactic, what remains of the laws of war? Epilogue, the architecture of inattention. These 10 stories are not isolated. They are symptoms of a shared pathology, pattern manifestation. Resource capture Sudan right-pointing arrow China right-pointing arrow Gaza. Data distortion crime right-pointing arrow health right-pointing arrow aid. Technological rupture missile right-pointing arrow radar. Human devaluation children lost right-pointing arrow children starved. The common thread is not conspiracy, it is priority. What is amplified reflects power. What is buried reflects threat. A call to intellectual responsibility. We conclude not with outrage, but with invitation. Read the primary sources, linked in footnotes. Cross-verify across platforms, X, academic repositories, satellite archives. Teach others to do the same. Demand transparency not as activists, but as citizens of reason. The unseen does not vanish. It waits. And history judges not those who were deceived, but those who chose not to look. October 29, 2025, was not the end of truth. It was a test of attention. Did you pass? Primary sources, datasets, and verification paths archived at ipfs://QM Inquiry 2025, underreported October 29.